Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
You're laughing.
Because we knew this was coming.
Yeah, so of course, like clockwork, Disney is raising its prices.
Yep. Well, they just announced they're doubling theme park, expenditures. Guess where the money comes from? Doesn't come from them, and they sure as hell aren't going to take it from things that investors would be getting paid for. So that means it's going to come from you.
Yes, Disney is going to spend $60 billion on theme parks, and they're going to juice you as much as they can.
Yeah, you thought the prices were high before and people stopped going because it was too expensive. Well, it's getting higher, and Disneyland's getting hit hard.
Mickey's going to snap on those white gloves, be like, come on, got to pay up, pay piggies.
But here's what the problem with this. The problem with this is Disney, every time they raise prices and their theme park attendance is already down. So now investors are going to panic because they're like, wait a minute, yeah, you're going to make more money, but you're not going to have enough people going to the theme parks. So they're basically cutting off their nose to spite their face, and the stock's already dropping.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this. It's already down today, and remember, Nelson Peltz is hovering. He's kind of like, hey, Bob, you got a plan? Got a plan?
The theme parks that you're counting on to bail you out, probably raising the prices on them is when they're already not seeing the attendance they were seeing, is probably the wrong thing to do.
Probably. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
This is coming from piratesandprincesses.net, objective Disney news at piratesandprincesses.net.
I'm not as objective as I used to be, but I do try to be.
Nobody is.
I try to be fair.
So, yeah, just a couple of years ago, Disney was bragging that the reason they were raising their prices is basically they were trying to get a higher caliber of customer.
Right. They're going for the whales.
The whales.
People with more money.
And they told investors that it would help keep crowds under control.
Oh, yeah. That's the excuse they always give.
There'd be fewer crowds. So more rich people would come because it would be a better experience for them.
It wasn't just the rich people. It was just they're telling people that were like annual pass holders and stuff, hey, we're raising the prices because the wait times are getting out of control. That's the excuse they use for Genie Plus. We're doing this because you have to pay for it, so it's going to control the crowds. They always use that as an excuse. And every time it doesn't pan out.
Right. And, remember, guys, this is Bob Iger, who had to give back the free parking at the hotels that they instituted that in 2017, that they were going to charge for parking.
That was under him, by the way.
That was under him. A lot of these really unpopular decisions, Genie Plus was greenlit under Iger.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the stuff that they were trying to walk back a couple of months ago to get park attendance up was under Bob Iger, but now they're going to raise prices because they were saying that I guess the attendance was down quite a bit over the summer, wasn't it?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah, overall it was down, and people don't have the money because we're talking about this multiple times. It's like people are mad at Disney, people are over Disney, but
yes.
A lot of it, there's a lot of diehards, and there's a lot of families that are going to go no matter what because they're not into the nitty gritty pop culture stuff we are. And the problem is, I've seen so many people talk about it because I'm on all these different boards, and it's just because it's too expensive. And then you have people that have been saving up for like years to go, and then right before they go, they get hit with more price hikes, and they might not be able to afford those price hikes. So that is probably as part of the reason why people aren't going is this is too pricey. They can't afford it. They make it so complicated and expensive.
That's what I'm trying to figure out here. I'm trying to figure out the logic in this. So our park attendance is down. We're in a recession, record inflation. People are pinching pennies. I'm seeing it all over the place. I'm seeing it with every business right now. People are pinching pennies hard. We have another video coming up talking about websites and the Washington Post and stuff like that. We'll talk about it. But everybody is trying to save money. So what do? Hey, our park attendance is down. Instead of having a sale, let's have an anti-sale.
Well, they had sales at Disney World, but they're raising prices mostly at Disneyland.
Yeah,
which is the locals park, and they don't have like the people, like the guests, like a lot of the guests that come to Disney World are there for like days and days and days.
Yes.
The ones that come to Disneyland are usually just there a day or two, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah, well, given the state that LA's in right now, I can't imagine many people visiting Southern California to go to Disneyland. Like, there's no way.
Businesses are leaving in droves.
People are leaving, so they gotta bleed out the people that are left, I guess.
So what's going on is Disney announced that there are a lot of hikes coming. The Walt Disney World annual pass got jacked up. The Magic Keys passes at Disneyland, which aren't currently being sold, but when you go to renew or they sell them again, prices are increased. Disneyland theme park tickets are increased. Parking at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World has been increased. Genie Plus at Disneyland has been increased. There's a lot of increases. Now, I think over Disney World, park hopping will return to all day again. But there's a lot of price hikes and people aren't happy. So we're going to talk about that. So let's start with Walt Disney World because there's only a couple for Walt Disney World. Okay, so Walt Disney World, their annual passes are increasing for pass holders, and then the renewal prices are increasing for those renewing. So the Incredipass Pass is $1,449. The Sorcerer Pass is almost $1,000 basically. Pirate Pass is $800, and the Pixie Dust Pass is basically $440. These are about a $30 to $50 increase overall. Not too bad for Walt Disney World. Just wait till I hit Disneyland. Disney World parking. So now standard parking is up $5 to $30. Now, if you are a pass holder, you don't have to pay it. Right. If you're staying at the resort hotels, you don't have to pay that parking, I believe. Preferred parking now ranges from $45 to $55, depending on what kind of vehicle you have. Like a car is less, of course, than like a big van or a truck or something.
Oh, you're driving a Lexus? Yeah, we're charging you more.
Yeah, I should. Yeah. What
Tesla
bracket?
Tesla fee. We hate Elon Musk. An extra $100 for you.
Well, they might have to pay that anyway, just because people are getting their cars keyed or Teslas keyed in the parking lot.
I was going to say something about that. Like they were getting, it was actually Disney World, wasn't it? They were keying the cars.
They forgot that the cameras come on the mirrors when someone walks by it. So the dumbass, she goes and keys the car, and she's on camera the whole time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I think they caught her too. So that's Disney World at this point. Not that there won't be more increases, but as of when I wrote this article, that was the increases. Now, Disneyland. Disneyland's getting hit hard. Now, we've talked many times about how Disneyland wasn't getting the price hikes that Disney World was getting. Like their lowest ticket stayed at $104. Their stuff at Galaxy's Edge dropped in price while Disney World stayed the same. They were getting discounts and a lot more perks than Disney World. Well, now it's coming back.
Now here's the thing to understand. Disney World and
go ahead and explain the difference.
Yeah, there's a disconnect at Disney World and Disneyland, which I did not realize until we started doing media for the other website. But they basically have their own teams at each park. They're not in lockstep. They do kind of influence each other, and Josh Tomorrow's in charge of both. But each park has some degree of autonomy.
Well, I think the reason Disneyland prices are going up is because one of the big spends they plan on spending money on is Disneyland, because they have had all these different things they were trying to get through. Anaheim has to agree to it, but they want to put a whole new area in Disneyland, and they want to put a new parking structure for Disneyland that Disney would be paying for. So I think part of the increases is because they want to do a lot with Disneyland. If it's approved, the money will be spent there, a big hunk of it.
There's been a lot of talk of them doing it, trying to do a third park for a while.
It's not really a third park. I think it's just an extension to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Or it might be California Adventure. One of them is getting expanded.
Yeah. Now, when I was a kid and we used to go to Disneyland all the time, California Adventure was the parking lot. It was, and so it was a big parking lot, but it was like the Disneyland Hotel was there. Downtown Disney was not there. So Downtown Disney and California Adventure were not there. And it was just like the Disneyland Hotel was there. And then there was a parking lot. And then you'd go to Disneyland.
Well, now they have the parking garages. So they're talking about building a new parking garage, which people keep jumping from, which is a whole other story entirely. There was
prices like that.
There's probably a lot less people jumping off when there was a flat parking lot. Yeah. So the Disneyland ticket prices. Okay. So they're still going to keep their $104 on select days. Well, they were having a lot of those. Looking forward, they probably won't not have many. They basically have different tiers depending on like how busy they expect it to be, ranging from $104 to $194, which was up from $179. So that's what, $15 difference for the most expensive ticket. Now, the Molly Day ticket pricing saw a big increase. It went from 310 to 480 days is what it is now. It was 285 to 415. So that's like a big difference. So they want you to come 1 or 2 days, not by the Molly Day, because then, as Disney World used to do this, I don't think they do it now, but the more days you spend, the less expensive the ticket per day is. Yeah. They're trying to keep you from, buying Molly Day tickets if they can avoid it. So that's what they're trying to do. And that went up like 16%. Yeah. That's a huge increase.
And look, I'm not trying to be a dick, right? But Disneyland's not worth as much as Disney World in terms of, like for passes and stuff like that. I don't, because there's only 2 parks. Yeah. We've
gone more than 1 day for each one before, but
do I now? Okay. So we're split on how we feel. I personally It's my personal opinion. I personally prefer Disneyland Park to Magic Kingdom because my favorite rides there are superior versions of them at Disneyland.
That is true. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is far
Way better.
superior to Disneyland.
I still think Space Mountain's better.
I would, for smoothness, yes. I mean, Disneyland, it's better. But their Splash Mountain's gone. Their Splash Mountain was not better.
No,
and their
Splash
Haunted
Mountain's not
Mansion
better.
is not as good as
No,
Disney World.
Haunted
I'm
Mansion's not,
sorry.
but it's still the original. So
I don't care. It's still not as good.
Well, that's like Small World. Like Small World, it's the original Small World, but I think Magic Kingdoms is better. But
I know they have like the characters in the one at Disneyland, but I just thought, I don't know, Magic Kingdoms is better.
It was kind of Magic Kingdoms is thought out better because they had a chance to think it out
I
better.
want to say it feels cleaner.
Yeah, that's the original World's Fair version.
I know. But I mean, so there's some things that are better at Disneyland, some things that are better at Disney World. They're two completely different experiences.
Tiki Room's better.
Tiki Room is definitely better. They're two completely different experiences because Disneyland is small and you can walk to everything. Disney World is huge and you have different parks and you have to take buses.
That about it. Yeah,
I did like that about Disneyland. But overall, I prefer Walt Disney World to Disneyland.
Yeah,
but I'm also a Disney World girl. I grew up going there.
I would say overall I prefer Disney World, but see, I grew up going to Disneyland, so I have a soft spot for Disneyland. And again, like there are just certain rides that I don't think they're as good at Disney World as a Disneyland.
Well, I think that there's all the other ones that are better at Disney World, Disneyland.
That's true too.
Wrestle for it.
We get.
See who wins.
But this is like a big debate. Like all these Disney fans always have a huge debate over which is better. We still have subs at Disneyland. We still have
That's true. You still have
but
I don't want to get into those.
Oh, they're very tiny and very I forgot how. I mean, I hadn't been in the subs since I was a kid. So
that's the last time I was in them.
So a couple of years ago, we did the subs. We went out for Pixar Pier. And we did the subs. I'm like, oh my God, this is claustrophobic. Like this is, I'm a tall guy. So I'm like, oh my God.
I don't want to get back in one of those. Anyway, can we get back to the point?
Let's get back to the point.
So then their Magic Key, which is their version of annual passes, is also increasing between 50 and 150. So Disney World is increasing 30 to 50. Disneyland is 50 to 150, and you can't even buy them because they stopped selling them because in Disneyland, I think you're going to find more people use them at Disneyland than they do at Disney World because Disneyland's more of a locals park, so most people who live there buy these Magic Keys. And they're trying to force you into not having this. So they're raising their prices. Like their Inspire is now like $1,650, which is up from $1,600, so $50.
Yeah,
Believe is $1,250, and it's up from $1,100. So that went up like $150. Then Enchant will be $849, up from $700. So that went up $150. And Imagine's up to $500, up from $450, so $50.
So it's not like include, diversify.
No, it should, but no. Inspire, believe, enchant, and imagine.
Protests.
And so that's one. But then they're getting a Disneyland Genie Plus increase as well. Now, Disney World Genie Plus is set up different than Disneyland's Genie Plus because Disney World is like per park, and then there's one you can get like one price that if you park hop, you can use it at different parks. I think they keep it pretty much a flat rate at Disneyland, and it normally was a minimum of $25, and it'd go up from there. Now they're putting the minimum at $30.
Oh my God!
So you're already paying for the price ticket. The ticket increases on both annual passes, well, Magic Key passes, and ticket pricing. Okay, and then you have to pay more per day for your Genie Plus just to get on things. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a point now where like we haven't been. Let's see, we went last year to Disney World.
We haven't gone down since. We've been too busy.
Well, we came back with COVID, so that's...
Well, most of it's just been... I'd go down to cover stuff because I need to get down there, but it's just been too busy.
I don't even want to go. The only thing I wanted to do this year, and I wasn't able to make it because we're too damn busy, I wanted to go to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. That's the only thing I wanted to do this year. And we couldn't do it this year, and I'm really bummed about that. But there's nothing at Disney I want to do.
I would go down, but the whole thought of just getting on a plane and going down there, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And then I start thinking about all the logistics, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to.
Well, that's okay. That's the biggest problem I have with Disneyland too. Well, they took that away.
It's so hard to get there from over here.
Disney World, they had the Magic Express, and they took that away.
Yes, to save money.
To save money. Now, at Disneyland, they had a bus, but it was run by a third party, and it was crazy expensive. And that bus actually passed us. oh my God, we got stuck at LAX and it passed us like 3 times. Like, there goes the Disney bus. Didn't we get a ticket for the Disney? But there it goes. Okay, well, maybe it will come back again next time. And it was basically.
You're there for like, what, 2 to 3 hours waiting?
2 or 3 hours waiting for the bus because it was full. The bus was full. They didn't really plan, even though we prepaid for tickets on the damn bus, it was full. So it just kept on driving by. Mm-hmm. And our daughter's crying. She's like, I just want to go to Disneyland. We're in LA and I'm scared. I'm like, yeah, this isn't very magical.
I was getting pissed.
You were getting pissed.
It wasn't pretty.
And then, then the other option is one time I took a freaking shuttle and they wound up going through a bunch of like residential neighborhoods and junk, and like we were like in the freaking ghetto and stuff. I'm like, oh,
it was like you were supposed to be there like it was supposed to be there like at midnight, and you were like 3 a.m. and you still weren't there. 3 a.m.
I'm in a car full.
I was panicking because
some of these people are like really dicey looking. I'm like, where are we going? Why are we going to this really rough looking neighborhood to drop?
You got to the midnight. You got there at like it was like 11 o'clock at night their time, which would have been like 2 a.m. our time. Okay. Yeah. And he landed, and then I wasn't hearing anything from him.
I couldn't get to my phone because they had 9 people shoved in the van.
And it was like I was waiting and waiting and waiting, and after like a couple hours, I was ready to call the police. I'm like panicking, and finally he answered me, but he didn't get to his room till like 3 a.m. But anyway,
that wasn't very bad. Once I was there, I had a good time.
Well, you're by yourself. I'm sure you had a great time. Anyway. So Disneyland parking is going to increase also. It is going up from $30 a day to $35 a day, which is a $5 increase. So somebody going to Disneyland already has their tickets increased, be it annual pass or Magic Key or regular tickets. They have Genie Plus increase, minimum, and then they have a parking increase. So you're right off the bat, you're probably up like $30-$40 a person just there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's. I mean, look, I get inflation, but this is, and they're calling it out. Hollywood Reporter, they're like, yeah, it's. They're prepping a $60 billion parks investment, so some of that's going to come from other places. I don't know if they can take any more loans out. They've taken an awful lot of loans out.
I don't know what they paid back. They haven't said.
They got paid for Hulu yet too.
Well, they said that when they took the loans out for COVID, some of them were short term, but some of them were like 30-year loans or whatever. And you never hear anything else about that. Like, how much do you still owe?
Yeah, were they waiting to do this? They're like, hey, good news, guys. We're going to bring the park hoppers back after like how many years now? Because
well, the park hoppers were there, but you couldn't do it to like certain times. Right, you couldn't do it after 2, but now you can come back and do it all day or whatever. So there it is, guys. We knew when they said they were going to announce this big expenditure that it was going to cost more money. Pricing increases were coming. We all knew it, and it hit today. I mean, just people went online today, and it was there. So if you're planning a trip, you're going to have to spend more money. I think this is going to be, for some people, I don't think it's so much on the annual passes at Disney World because they didn't go up that much. But for the ones at Disneyland and for a lot of people, it might be just enough that they're like, I'm done.
It's something, it's very easy to break habits. And people talk about this, during the pandemic, a lot of people, their habits were broken, whether it's comic shops, Marvel movies, certain, hobbies or restaurants, whatever. The habit was broken. If people had a habit of going to Disney World, Disneyland all the time, and they were like, oh, I got by for a couple of years without doing it. Hey, it's pretty easy to not go every year.
Or I went places locally because I didn't want to fly. Yeah, look, those places are good too, and they cost me way less.
Yeah, they cost way less, and I don't have to go through the hassle because they made flying such a damn hassle.
Well, they made everything a hassle. Even Disney parks. I mean, they're walking it back now, and then starting next year, it's going to be easier. But until recently, it's been a complete hassle. And Genie Plus is a hassle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
People are like, oh, it's great if you know how to use it. That's true. If you know how to use it, it is good. But you have to know how to use it, and it's extra steps. And it's just a pain in the ass. And a lot of people they're just like, I'd rather take my money. And Disney's attitude hasn't been good. And they're like, I'd rather take my money and spend it elsewhere. Or I'd rather just do staycations and not distressed, or like go nearby places and things like that.
Side note, since we're talking about, people losing revenue and all that, we're going to be doing a video on the Washington Post. All these articles are about buying Amazon products through the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, because it's their Amazon days.
Right now. They get affiliate revenue.
Hey, I've been putting some of those up though, but mostly for things I think people would be interested in. I don't just like throw stuff together. Like if someone, there are things that people would like that are Disney related, or Legos or things like that.
Hubby holding you at gunpoint to get on that Peloton.
Get one for Prime Day.
Get one for Prime Day. You too fat? You want to fit in the seats at Disneyland? Get a Peloton.
Actually, I might want to get a Peloton. I'll have to look, see what the price is. Anyway.
Okay. All right. We're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.